Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to Canadian Football Central, CFL content for the fans, by the fans. And we have a very, very special video coming in as Jake is back. That's right.
What's
if you've
up,
been
everybody?
Following the channel for a while, one of the original hosts here of what was at the time.
The original host. No.
At the time was CFL Central. Now, of course, Canadian Football Central since our rebrand a few months ago. And we got Jake and Rick on at the same time. Let's see if they get along. They might not. But
all right, we'll have to see. It's gonna get heated.
Hey, Rick and Coach Phil, take two.
Oh my God, you guys! I literally thought you guys were gonna kill each other before the end of that video. I was literally, you watch that video and I'm just like hiding behind my mic, like, oh no. He comes in and he's like, "Who's this Scamilton?" You know. But literally, we have massive breaking news. Nathan Rourke returns from the NFL back to Canada on a 3-year deal in the CFL. And this will be very interesting because, Jake, you found out it was a 3-year deal about 2 seconds before we're recording.
I did.
You don't even know the money yet, which is why I'm excited to get into this. Rick,
okay,
what's the money on this deal?
So we're just going to not even count this year. We're just going to go for 24 and 25 because it's 24, 25, 26. We'll just go 25, 26. So without any bonuses, 549,200 plus he has a 200,000 marketing fee that doesn't even include the cap. Whoa. So that's 749,200 for year one. Year two, he's at 609,000 with another 200,000. So with 6,000 in bonuses, second year is $815,000.
Jake, your new owner is balling out. That is crazy money for
that. That is
ludicrous.
Oh, hold on. But Jake, it gets better because where did I see it?
No wonder he's okay coming back from the NFL. He's making NFL money.
Don't forget. Vernon Adams is still guaranteed $500,000 the next couple of years too. So you're putting like $1.3 million just into 2 quarterbacks.
You can't play them at the same time. Or I mean, I guess you can, but you're not.
All I'm gonna say about this is that, in my opinion, this type of contract with a player like that, I think this finally elevates the CFL entirely. Like this is the type of thing that they've needed for a while. Just that is insane. Like that's I don't know how that can't be encouraging for any player currently on a practice roster right now getting opportunity in the NFL. This could change the entire like face of the CFL for the foreseeable future. That is insane money.
Yeah.
Not only that, but now you have 2 Canadian quarterbacks in the West.
Well, also damn, that's actually
Trade
awesome.
forward.
That adds so much value to the actual Canadian market in itself.
As starters,
that's great. But also like Rick, like what you're saying, like I just saw this post down on 3 Down Nation earlier, and it's saying that Vernon will not be traded. Like they're not trading him.
Okay, well, I'm not gonna lie. I don't know how much I'm buying that. In the sense of that,
how much money did you say was going to be spent between the 2 quarterbacks?
So you figure
like $1.3 million, I think.
Vernon
Adams and like a $3.5 million cap, something like that.
Vernon Adams, no, because Vernon Adams, don't forget, he still has bonuses on top of that, but he's guaranteed, cut or not, $500,000 next year, and then $250,000 in 2026.
Jesus.
Now, to be fair, they say he's not going to trade it. I'm not sure how much I buy that. And what I mean by that is that financially, I just don't see if you're going to have it, like, because it's like you can't really have him like sitting on the side. Like that's $500,000. You can't just have them
This is also coming from an owner though that just spent how much money getting 50 Cent to open the season.
But you have to remember, CFL only has a $5.5 million salary cap.
Is it 5.5? Okay, that's actually a little higher than I thought it was. I thought it was less than that.
Yeah, me too. I thought it was way lower than that, actually.
No, it's 5 something.
Crazy.
Okay, well, pull it up. But still, it's one of those things where if they want to make a decent amount of moves under the cap, realistically, at some point, VA goes. In the sense of, and I would have thought that he wouldn't if this was a 1-year deal. Because this is a 3-year deal.
That's what I thought it was.
Because this is a 3-year deal, I think Vernon, I mean, we're talking about a guy who has been one of the best quarterbacks in the CFL this season. You don't have that guy just sitting on the sidelines doing nothing. And it's one of those things where at the absolute most, he sits on the sidelines for the rest of this year. At the absolute, and I'm talking at most. It's one of those things where after this season, after this season, I can't see him staying in BC unless, for example, maybe Nathan Rourke is not able to perform the way he did before. Although I'm not going to lie, don't think that's very likely.
No way. We all saw that game against Dallas.
Yeah, well, I mean that was crazy. And one of the things that I think is important to realize is that there's a decent amount of skepticism around Nathan Rourke in the sense of with some people, like in the sense of that when guys come down from the NFL, sometimes they adjust, sometimes they not. The thing is that we're not talking about a guy who's coming to the CFL for the first time. We're talking about a guy who came to the CFL, who thrived in the CFL, who is setting records and lighting the entire league on fire when he was here in 1 year as a starter. And so it's one of those things where whether you expect that he's going to be at quite that level or not, he's going to absolutely be a bona fide starter in this league. No question.
Oh, 100%. Look at the money he's getting. That already like signifies. It's already right there in itself.
Yeah.
Like that's insane. This whole situation, I really did not do my research.
I didn't think it was going to happen.
Come on,
I'm not going to lie. I thought Rourke was going to bounce around the NFL a little longer, looking for some other teams, looking for some other opportunities. I mean, if we're talking about just the health of the CFL, I mean, when we're talking about Nathan Rourke, we also have to talk about a guy who was also recently released from the Atlanta Falcons, Austin Mack. Recently released from the Atlanta Falcons, obviously was with the Montreal Alouettes, wins a Grey Cup there, was fantastic. They're bona fide number one receiver. And so is there a chance he goes then looks for some other opportunities there in the NFL, like Rourke's situation with multiple teams? It's possible. But when you have an owner like BC that shells out the money for him, if I'm Austin Mack, I'm like, okay, Alouettes, we got anything on the horizon? It's again, this kind of goes back to what you were saying earlier, Jake, about how this is something serious for the CFL in the sense and this kind of contract only works if you're investing in the team in other ways. You can't just throw money aimlessly at players and do nothing to actually promote the team. This is a problem that we've seen a little bit with the Elks, where they throw this crazy money at Eugene Lewis, but then they don't do this other promotion of the team. They don't try to bring in extra fans coming to the games by having these concerts and all that other stuff that BC is doing. And now you're talking about struggling attendance at some Elks games and these big contracts that they're paying. But who knows? Elks just as of recently got new ownership. We'll probably have to do a video on that now. Thinking about that. But BC, in my opinion, has done it the right way, and it's crazy Jake, you live in BC. Tell me about the turnaround of this franchise.
It's been incredible to witness. Growing up, obviously, with the Winnipeg connection for me, I grew up going to Bombers games every summer and every year I would come out as a kid. And then, on the flip side of that, as many Lions games as we could go to as well. And for about 10-year span of my life, I just stopped going. It just seemed like after the last Grey Cup, when the Lions won their last Grey Cup against Winnipeg, I believe, in BC back, I want to say in 2011. That might have been.
That's right. Yep.
Ever since that moment, everything with the franchise just went really downhill, and the fan interest kind of dropped off. It felt like that was the pinnacle, brand new building, winning the championship.
Like that was the
home.
peak.
And it just crashed after that. When I was in the cadets, I had opportunities to go and carry the flag out onto the field and be really incorporated into the element of the game, and it just felt dead. It just didn't feel like what it felt like now. And what Omar Doman's been able to do is capture the attitude of Vancouver. Vancouver is a very nonchalant city when it comes to its sports, very bandwagon heavy. Canucks fans can, even the most diehard Canucks fans can relate to that. There's a reason why you can get tickets for $30 when the Canucks are bad and $150 for that exact same seat a week later if the Canucks go on a 2-game heater. The city is just, that's how they are with their franchises. And you have to play that hand, and that's exactly what they do with the concerts, exactly what they do with the $5 beers and $5 hot dogs on the block parties every game out front. They really know how to appeal to people, getting non-football fans to come to the games, and at the end of the day, that's how you create revenue. Even if you only go for 2 quarters, you still bought your ticket, you're still going for that 2 quarters, and that's how you really grow the game, in my opinion, in a city that it's hard to really grow it, because it is, to be real, it is kind of like minor league sports at some level. I know it's professional. I know these are great players, but it's not the NFL. It doesn't have that draw.
It's not the top league, yeah.
Exactly. And what Vancouver and what Omar Doman has been able to do is just find a way to kind of make the Lions just kind of just fit into the sports market, seamlessly. Like now
Yeah.
they're now that when it comes to summertime, the Canadians, the Lions, even the Whitecaps, they're all kind of just in that group. Before it was just the Whitecaps, it was just the Canadians if they were good, and the Lions were just always at the bottom. And it really feels like people are starting to care about the Lions again. Like Carter, you saw what it was like in Vancouver when you came out for those Jets games against the Canucks earlier in
Well,
April.
in even
Like
what
even in April, they had more banners up for the Lions than
and
they did
that
for
was the
Canucks.
and that was what I was going to say is that it even so there's all the differences that you've mentioned, but as someone who was just visiting BC, there's even been a difference for me in the sense of like, when I'm visiting cities, whatnot, take a lot of public transport, stuff like that, just save my money and all this and that. You go into the subway, line stuff all over the walls. Seriously. The posters, everything. And it's all over the city. It's one of those things where it's like, if there's a BC Lions game, whether you're at it or not, it's happening. And they've done such a good way at getting kind of in your face in that regard. But that's what you got to do. That's where
They're
it's
also
like
growing the Lions outside of Vancouver too, which sorry for interrupting you, but I just remember that because they've done a lot of initiative in doing watch parties and practices and autograph signings in Kelowna and in the interior. And then as well, we can't forget, I don't know who they're playing because my memory is crap, but the Lions will be playing a game in Victoria if they've not haven't already. So they'll be
Ottawa.
taking it. Thank you for that, Rick. So they'll be taking they'll be taking it over to the island, getting there, which is already football is pretty big on the island in itself. So that just really helps grow the game as well. You're just growing Vancouver, the sport in itself, and getting the fan base.
the BC Lions, not the Vancouver Lions.
Exactly, right. So that's something that they've really felt that Omar Doman as well has really done well, is reaching out to other cities and other areas where football is popular and helping grow a fan base there. And that's, and again, like you just said, Carter, it's the BC Lions. It's not the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. It's not the Hamilton Tiger Cats. It's BC, and the whole point is getting everyone in BC to root for the team because. In some parts, even of the province for hockey, I don't know if you remember that stupid sign, but there was for the Canucks when they went on their playoff run, a lot of Kelowna was cheering for the Oilers because it's just the way it was.
I think I've
right?
seen this. Yes,
like they had Boston pizzas that were like "Go Oilers, go," and they literally were bullied by the entire fan base to change that to the Canucks, and because that's just how it was. So growing it in the province is really important, I think, and then also Nathan Rourke. BC boy, Grey Cup in BC. He's the ultimate free agent. Like, it is the perfect way to get people talking about the Lions again, in my opinion. Yeah. So, like, this guy had 255 completions. Like, he's good.
Here's the big question. So before Adams went down, he was going head and head with Bo for MOP. Now Adams, if he goes to backup, Rourke has to make that, that step up and catch everyone. Who's the now MOP of the season?
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those things where it's like it's funny. There's so many guys that could be candidates, but everyone's got effing injured. Like, it's seriously.
Not only that,
all the injuries around the league. It's like one of those things where it's like Bo Levi Mitchell's done like a good job, but I mean, like his team is like what? Like
crap.
His team hasn't done well, so it's one of those things where it's like, yeah, like he's done well, but if you can't get the wins, then is he the most outstanding player? The guy who and again, I'm not saying this in any offense here, but the guy who's not able to get the wins for the team, and I understand he's not the whole reason that they're doing crap and all this and that. I get that, but you can't give the MOP to someone on the last place team. I don't see that. Vernon Adams Jr. has had a strong performance. Obviously, gets injured in the game against Winnipeg where BC gets shut out. Then BC goes on. They lose the next week, so the third consecutive loss. They lose to the Edmonton Elks, who, to be fair, this Edmonton Elks team, it's one of those things where it's like, out of all the times in the year you could play the Edmonton Elks, this is the time you don't want to play them because the Elks are finally starting to get their crap together. And so it was one of those things where just wrong place, wrong time. Dolagala wasn't able to get it done, and overall the BC defense just wasn't able to properly contain Trey Ford, and then even contain Bethel Thompson once they were able to get going. So Nathan Rourke will definitely make a big difference to the offense. It's impossible to have Nathan Rourke and have him not make a difference. I mean, that's just the reality that we have. But it's one of those things where I think Nathan Rourke from what I remember from his season 2 years ago, he was decent out of the pocket, decent in the pocket. I wouldn't say he's the most scrambly quarterback, but I also wouldn't say that he's the most. He's a quarterback who will just stay in that pocket all day, kind of like Bethel Thompson. And so one of the things that I think can be really key here is that. Let's say BC, because again, they say they weren't going to trade Vernon Adams Jr., but I think there's a lot of benefits that would come out of it. And again, you have Nathan Rourke for 3 years.
I have a conspiracy, and this is just my opinion. I think that the concept behind it with Vernon, the saying that now is that the Lions fully believe that this is their Grey Cup opportunity. Mm-hmm. So why trade a guy that just helped you get to this point already in the season, let him get the ring with the team, then you move him in the offseason? I think that's pretty much what they're trying to say.
I get that. But it's one of those things where if the goal is Grey Cup, there's so many assets that you could get that could fill holes in the lineup that could also get you over there. And but there's also is a bit of assurance here. If Rourke goes down, you got VA with you. So I see both sides of it.
I have a question for Rick because I don't know this off the top of my head. What is the salary? How much salary cap with this contract now do the Lions have left?
I don't know, but I don't know what it is.
It's kind of harder to figure that out in the CFL. It's not
right?
as publicly known.
Okay. Keep in mind that the salary cap for this year is 5.525, and me and Carter learned this from AJ Allen, rider player on the team. If you're on the 6 game, your amount doesn't count.
It's basically equate to long-term injury reserve in the NHL. Really? Where essentially, so if you're on the standard injury reserve, the salary is covered by the team. If you're on the 6-game injured list, the salary is covered by the league. So then that takes a little bit of salary off of the weight of the team. So
another question then, real quick. Is it like the NHL as well? Where playoff time comes around and salary cap doesn't matter like that? You can take the guys
out?
No.
Hold on. So you can go over the salary cap up to 100,000, and I think it's like per dollar or something like that. You have
I think it might be like the NBA where you got to pay a fine.
Then after the 100,000, you start to lose draft picks. But keep in mind, Carter, when Rourke was in BC 2 years ago, you also had Rhymes, you had Whitehead. Whitehead's gone to Winnipeg. Rhymes has gone to Ottawa. You have Hatcher, Katoy.
Yes, but there's a replacement.
And that Whitehead contract was the highest
His
paid
name is Justin McInnes. This guy has been.
No, I get that. But I mean,
he's talking about value right there.
No, I'm just saying 2 years ago, you guys had 5 unbelievable receivers. Yep. You guys have Katoy if he's healthy. Hatcher whenever he wants to show up. And then McInnes who just carries your whole receiving team.
Yeah, I mean, McInnes is just being unreal this year.
See, I wouldn't put it past Omar Doman because I've met the guy a few times. I've chatted with him a bit. He does not give a fuck about money. I will tell you that right now. I don't know how rich he is. I don't know what his portfolio is. I don't care. But like you can just tell by the way that he spends on the opening concert series, on the way that they have even just marketed BC Place in itself, on opening the roof and really making it a game. I don't think I would not put it past him to completely spend over, pay any fines, any luxury tax, and just go all out. Like I really don't see it putting it past him. So
that's fair.
Maybe this is that. Maybe they look at it and they're like, okay, or maybe we look at for the first time in CFL history the most elite tandem for quarterback ever. Like, you might have a situation where like you might, like what the Bombers are doing this year with Strevler, they're using him a lot more than we would have expected, I would say, in the short yardage area. But at the same time, maybe you're going to see an adapted rotation where, depending on matchups, you get one guy gets more opportunity than the other. And again, that could be elite right there. Like there's so many options and this is so new, like with the signing. And I don't think really anyone really expected it this year, like being completely honest. There's just, I don't know. It's just so interesting, this whole situation, because the Lions do need to add still, but how much cap they have left is the big question.
Yeah. And I think that's kind of where all the when there's the conversation about trading VA, the conversation is about clearing up that cap, not just for the sake of clearing it up, but for the sake of bringing other pieces in to help kind of the other parts of this offense. I mean, it's one of those things where like these past few games, I'm not going to lie, I have not been impressed with the offensive line of the Lions. Not saying that they're not capable. Earlier this season, they were just fine. I had no issues with them whatsoever. And it's possible. I think before BC does anything, play a game or two with it, because it's one of those things where when you make a signing like this, even if you have guys that are not performing, this is the kind of motivation that can turn all of that around. Seriously. It's one of those things where it's like when they have a quarterback behind them, when they got a coach that they have, or whatever it is that they're willing to play, bleed, and die for, seriously, blood, sweat, and tears, that can change all sorts of things. I mean, if we look at even just a coaching change over in Saskatchewan with Corey Mason, what he's been able to do with the Rough Riders, I mean, even with, like, excluding all the guys they brought in, if you just take a look at the base core of guys that are there, they've gotten so much more out of them ever since that change. And so I think the same effect can happen with a quarterback. It's one of those things where it's like, you look at the Edmonton Elks, it's like, look at the way that offensive line plays for Trey Ford, and look at the way they play for McLeod Bethel-Thompson. Seriously, it's night and day. It's one of those things where it's like, there is a guy behind them that they believe in, and there's a guy behind them that they tolerate. And so it's one of those things where it's we got to see it until we can go too far into it. But this keep in mind, there's only 6 players on the 6 game for BC as of right now. Yeah, that's true.
So what they probably did? They probably gave him next to like 100,000 or something.
Maybe that's what it is. They give him absolutely nothing and then just promise him crazy money for years 2 and 3.
And then next year.
And honestly, if you're a Lions, smart deal. Do it. Like, seriously. Like,
well, that's what I figured pretty much anyway this year. I thought it was a 1-year deal on the low end because, you have Vernon Adams. I know the injury isn't, super long term. I don't think it'll keep him out to the playoffs. I don't think so.
No, he was actually speculated that he could be back as early as August 18th, which is actually the Winnipeg game, their next game on the Sunday. So
see, part of me then wonders if this has been in the works for a while. And
I'm sure ever since even before he signed in Atlanta that they were talking. There's no way they weren't.
So I'm thinking that maybe this is it could be like a swift kick in the nuts kind of to Vernon Adams at the same time. Like maybe he wasn't expecting this, which could, lead to locker room issues. Like, again, it's all speculation, but.
Or, again, I think locker room issues is another reason why they come out and say, hey, we're not trading him, this and that, which even if they kind of change their mind on that, you gotta calm the situation down there, because the last thing you need is spending a ton of money and immediately having all this drama about that. You need to have the focus on Rourke is back, feel good, everyone is excited. That's where the attention has to be, not, oh my God, is Vernon Adams Jr. getting screwed over, blah, blah, blah. Like, you need to have the attention on the right things. And I think the Lions have done what they can in terms of managing this quite well.
It could just be as simple as they thought that it was an injury where it's week to week, and then as they look into it more, it's longer than just week to week.
Yeah. Well, and at the end of the day, it's one of those things where there have been some situations where players have gotten injured, they've gotten rushed back on, and it's just gone badly. I'm not even going to talk about the situation with the Miami Dolphins. I think everyone saw it with, I can't remember the name of the guy, got injured.
Tua.
Just, yeah, and he completely rocked, goes out there, he's completely out of it, and then just gets run over again. But I mean, if we look at a situation even within the CFL, there's this guy by the name of Jeremiah Mazzoli, who didn't even last half a game before he folded in half like a freaking book. And so,
I think it was like 2 plays.
It was
3 plays.
I was about to say, I don't even know if it was a quarter. Like and then he was out, and this was again season-ending injury. And Jeremiah Mazzoli coming into the lineup this week for the first time of the year. Let's see if he lasts. And so it's just such a crazy thing.
Keep in mind, Carter, who would have thought? We're going into week 11. Everyone's backup is pretty much playing, except for Calgary.
If you would have told me going into this week that Kenny Lawler would be playing his second game of the year, Dalton Schoen would have been injured, the Bombers would have been injured halfway to hell, the Argonauts would have been injured halfway to hell, Chris Jones would have gotten fired from BC, as seemingly they should have done it about 2,000 years ago after the pyramids were erected or whatever the hell it was. And then Trey Ford finally gets a start. They lose 7 at the start of the year because, they decided to spend $500,000 on a quarterback they didn't need. And then Ottawa makes a decision on their quarterback. They bring in Jeremiah Mazzoli. And by the way, Nathan Rourke is back in the CFL.
Oh, yeah.
Like, what is this world we live in? I'm sub 500 on my pick'ems this year.
Don't forget, you also have Hamilton's head coach, who completely threw Bo Levi under the bus this past Saturday at the press
Scott
conference.
Milanovich,
and
Team
saying
Extreme,
and saying that
the
Powell
first
was
overall
starting this
draft pick
week.
in the XFL 2001.
Oh my lord! Anyone can beat anyone in this league.
Jake,
apparently.
you missed this mess.
It sounds about as right when it comes to the CFL, man.
Well,
Oh my God, this
it's
is
funny
crazy.
because
And we had a tie for the first time in 7 years.
the funny thing about it is, Jake, I don't know if when you and Carter were doing your previews, if you guys would predict who is going to win.
Yes.
Yes, we did.
So I
we
recalculated
just didn't keep track of them, like the numbers,
So,
on if we were right.
Carter is 19-20-1
because of the
I'm
tie.
20. I'm 23-16-1, and I've never bet against my Ticats once.
And that's crazy considering your Ticats have lost a lot of games. I have absolutely bet against my Bombers. And I bet against them when it was BC versus Winnipeg, because BC looked like they were doing pretty decent, and Winnipeg still looked like they were like coming out of Victoria Hospital all beaten up. And so,
that game was hilarious against Winnipeg, man. Like a week ago, 2 weeks
I said
ago
if you're a Bomber fan, you enjoyed that. If you're a fan of football or any other team, that was a boring game of football. That was boring.
Oh, is that
one touchdown and all field goals?
The Edmonton friggin' Ottawa game that we watched, where we almost like falling asleep.
Oh my God, it looked like paint drying being a frickin' blood sport compared to that. Seriously, that game was absolutely nothing. It was boring. It was garbage.
I think I tuned into the stream that time, and I was like, "What's going on?" You guys?
He tuned in, and he's like, "Holy shit! Everyone just took a whole bottle of melatonin." Good God!
Wait, wasn't that the commercial that you're talking about?
I appreciate all of us who subscribe to us on that game, because if you were able to somehow get enjoyment out of that absolute piece of shit game, I commend you. Oh my goodness, man. This is Nathan Rourke.
This is
back
the
in
CFL.
Canada.
This is the CFL, baby.
And then people say that the CFL is boring to the NFL. Listen, anyone can win any game. Especially if you have the command center friggin' fucking up rules as they go along. Andre Puit can't call a game if his life fucking depended on it. Pardon my French.
Oh, Andre Pruitt can find employment.
Take a hike.
He can find employment somewhere else. What is it? Future Endeavors, the go fuck yourself memo that they send to you in the mail.
He should just go down to the NFL and ref.
They should send him down to the UFL. He's an experienced spring football veteran. You know.
He'd be too consistent for the UFL.
Yeah, he's consistently shit. You know. My goodness.
Any consistency down there is a shocker, though. So.
Yeah. Oh my
well,
goodness.
It's gonna be an interesting remainder of this year, though. Either way, like I'll just go out and say it right now. I think that there's a chance that Nathan Rourke comes in and we see like the Zach Caleros effect back in the day.
Like when Zach Caleros joined the Bombers after it was Matt Nichols. Oh no.
We might see that with the Lions. I know that this team obviously doesn't have as many, shining stars as it did a couple of years ago when he was on this team, but I think that Nathan Rourke is that type of quarterback that can take any team and make them good.
Well,
he just makes everyone around him better.
All I'm going to say in regards to Nathan Rourke is that's all I'm going to say. That's all. That's all I'm going to say.
I got this one from 99 and still one.
I got mine too.
I got all 6 of mine.
So, Carter.
Yeah.
Actually, for the stream boys, Carter already knows, but that's a game used football signed by Adam Bighill with a pair of game used gloves signed.
Nice.
There you go.
Given to me personally by the man.
So, Carter, I know we're going to discuss this in our preview, but I guess you're taking your Winnipeg Blue Bombers on Sunday.
Get out of here. No, he ain't. Look at the hat on his head right now. He's a bandwagoner right now. Like I said earlier, it's bandwagon city out here in Vancouver. He's all aboard.
I was about to say, nah, I'm a little east of Vancouver, not bandwagon. I believe in my Bombers. Zach Caleros is about to do some humbling.
Say his name and he'll appear.
That's right. Oh my! Is there anything else we got, boys? I think this has been great.
Not really.
I think that's it. I don't know.
All right. Well,
just excited to see Rourke back in the CFL where he belongs. Also, I gotta add, I forgot that he's from Victoria, so he gets to start that game in his hometown with the Lions.
Ooh, there you go.
Hometown pressure.
Exactly. He's
All
gonna
right,
fold like
well.
a cheap lawn chair. Nope.
Shit's getting real with the CFL. Nathan Rourke is back. Thank you guys so much for watching. Make sure you guys leave a like, share this video around, subscribe, hit the little notification bell if you haven't already. And if you don't, I will be mildly upset because I asked politely. So please do that. So again, thanks for Jake coming back on after so long. Coming back.
Forever.
It's funny. I was going to say CFL
invited.
Central, but it's Canadian Football Central now. But thank you for coming back.
I almost said it like 5 times. I really had to keep watching myself.
just before we go,
yeah.
What is everyone's prediction for the way that he's going to finish the season? Like, are we predicting like? Well, because there's 9 games left, so are we predicting like he can get like 12 touchdowns, 13, 25, maybe 3,000 yards? In 9 games?
I think he'll average probably over 400 a game. I really believe that.
I think
at least 300.
I think he'll average over 300 a game. I'll put it that way.
The new Bo 300.
I think personally, even though that sounds insane, I think that Omar Doman has been kind of building a team around the idea of Rourke returning. And even though these pieces might not be as stellar as what they were, like Rick was saying a couple of years ago in his first year as a starter,
yep.
I think that just the way they're constructed, there's something about them that if you add Rourke to this team, it could really light a fire into their ass and push them into that next step that we kind of thought the Lions were going to take when they lost to the Bombers in the Western Conference Final a couple of years ago. So I really think that we're finally going to see the emergence of the Lions that we really thought that we would have seen. Because let's be real, with the Vernon Adams Jr. era, it's not been bad, but it hasn't been close to what they were able to accomplish with Rourke as a starter in that 1 year. So I really am excited to see what they're able to do.
Yeah.
And I think that we're in for a treat down the stretch.
Hopefully you guys don't fall to Montreal this year.
Well, there.
Like Winnipeg did last year.
Oh,
don't even talk to me about Montreal. Fake club. And another thing about Montreal is I'm sick and tired of hearing about poutine. It's just soggy fries. Okay? If you want to give me some gravy with some cheese, that's fine. You're gonna put
brother, you gotta calm down.
I just want my damn French fries. Is that a problem? Okay, you didn't even invent them, France. Okay, they were made in Belgium. I know that because I was just in Belgium and they were telling me that. So stop claiming other people's heritage.
Okay.
God damn it. Okay. All right. And the Alouettes, you suck still. All right. There we go.
For those who forgot what the video was about, we were talking about the exciting contract signing of Nathan Rourke on the BC Lions.
What were we talking about? We were?
And yeah.
Oh.
Yes. Yeah.
we
were.
About...
So I appreciate everyone tuning in to the shitstorm of this that we call a video.
Coach Phil versus Rick 2.0.
Exactly. That's right. So make sure you guys like, share, and subscribe if you haven't already. I told you to before. I don't know why you didn't listen. Make sure
they don't
you hit
like
the notification
bell. Okay, Carter, shut up. I'm taking control of this outro. Ladies and gentlemen, if you enjoy CFL content, you want to hit that subscribe button. But more importantly, follow us on Twitter. Check out all the other independent links down in the description below. Drop a like, subscribe, and more importantly, Montreal, you're a fake franchise. Air horns are not allowed at a damn football game. Take that shit back to whatever you French people do in your spare time. I don't know. Complain about being Canadian.
And don't forget to check us out on Spotify too.
Yeah, check us out
on Spotify now.
Yes, we are.
I've started. He puts them up on YouTube, and then I put them on Spotify.
And then he pulls them off YouTube and throws them on Spotify. Yeah.
Oh, where they're illegally torrenting videos off of YouTube. You heard it here first. Breaking news story. Okay. All right.
It's our own videos. It's our property.
Are you sure? I think YouTube would beg to differ.
Well, I was about to comment about how their CEO just died.
Next thing you know,
they weren't.
You
doing
see
that,
FBI at Carter's door. Open up! This is the police.
I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Peace, love, and positivity. I got it from this man on the other
line.
I know, and Rick cringes whenever I say it.
You still say that?
That's damn right. We keep the traditions going at this channel.
Wow.
Oh God!
What a thief! I didn't even know
my stomach
that.
Hurts.
You stealing?
Oh my Lord!
God.
Stealing.
You know what? I bet Zach told you to do that, huh? Stealing from my channel? Like, I gotta talk to him.
Oh no! You should see Zach in some of these videos.
You should take that up with Zach and whatever he's been up to.
Okay.
Oh God!
Whatever he's
my
been up
insides
to.
are so sore.
Oh my goodness!
Good.
I hope you guys
can make them a little bit more sore if you know what I mean.
You need to come on here more often.
Good Lord!
And just Carter actually text me then instead of just being like, "Well, if you want to come on, just let me know, Jake."
Oh, okay, hold on.
Ask me.
Hold on. Let's get this out in the window. Carter will message me at 12 o'clock his time, 1 o'clock my time. You up? Let's record at 1 o'clock Eastern.
Yeah, why do you think I left the channel?
In my defense,
I'm
Rick.
two-
In
I'm
my
2 hours
defense,
earlier,
Rick. I
too.
will call you at 1 o'clock. I'll be like, hey, like you down to record a video? He's like,
When
yeah,
he
I've just
says
been doing
calls
some
you-
art stuff, man. Sounds good. I was like, okay.
How about how punctual Carter is, huh? How you're like, oh, let me get a glass of water real quick. What the fuck? 30 missed calls, brother. It's been 30 seconds, man. Chill. It's 1:31. Okay, like come on.
Oh my goodness. Can we start
Roasting
talking
Carter.
about Montreal again?
I want to start talking about the man with a BC Lions hat on, a flag in the background, but somehow a banner for the Bombers.
I see those
What is
Jets
this
banners.
bandwagon?
I see those
What
Winnipeg
Jets
banners.
banners?
Those ones
I
back
don't-
there behind you. Yeah.
Well, yeah, but do you
To your
see-
left.
Do you see
You
anything
see this
else?
Big Hill one?
Do you see anything else though?
This is a BC Lions video. That's where
Ignore
I'm
that.
wearing Lions
That's
stuff.
not that. Ignore that orange football. That's nothing. It's all.
Who signed that football, Jake? Who signed it? Who?
What do you think, Stein?
No. The one underneath. Who signed it? Wrong football. The real football. Who signed
Well,
it?
he also signed this one too.
Oh, there you go. Fair enough.
I have multiple.
There we go.
Mm-hmm.
So, I hope you guys have yourselves a wonderful night, and we'll see you guys some other time at some point.
I'll see you all really, really soon.
Touchdown, Hawks!